สวัสดีครับผมชื่อฟิลฟอฟันสละอิวอเวนฟิลครับนำพิงฟิลิปครับฟิลิปผมมาจากประเทศอังกฤษครับผมอายุ57 ปีที่แล้วครับผมอยู่เมืองไทยนานแล้วครับ16 ปีแล้วครับคนไทยบอกว่าฟิลคุณไม่ใช่ฝรั่งคุณเป็นคนไทยไม่ใช่ผมชอบเป็นฝรั่งผมภูมิใจเป็นฝรั่งครับ Okay, so you can play that is me talking my dodgy Thai to demonstrate that I can speak the language. Okay, I am very aware of my level of Thai language skills and I'm okay, but I can read and write Thai. And the one question that I am asked, well, actually, no, this is a lie. The second question I am asked the most, either in person or on my live streams or in comments is, how did you learn Thai? Where did you learn Thai? I want to learn it. How can I copy you, what you did? So the video today, we're going to try and investigate that and delve a little deeper. What you might want to do is play that little piece of me speaking Thai back to your wife or your girlfriend, or if you're lucky, your wife and your girlfriend, right? And I think they'll probably say, yeah, you know, we can understand him, he's not perfect, but I can kind of get by on the Thai language. And I think one of the most important things that I want to stress about learning Thai and speaking Thai over here is never to show off with it. Never think that you are some kind of Thai national, that you can speak Thai. I've actually seen guys criticising Thai people because they don't speak Thai correctly. Think about that one for a bit, right? So never do that. Just don't be boastful with it and just, you know, kind of use it when you have to. I am going to do a video next week, which is all going to be about, do you need to speak Thai? Are there some advantages of speaking Thai overnight? And also some funny things that have happened. And also crushing a few myths, urban myths about the Thai language. So, where did I learn to speak Thai? Well, I came here for the first time in the 90s, and this was pre-internet. And I came here and I went to a bar, and the language and the conversations were as you would expect, right? So it's, hello, sexy man, obviously. What's your name? Where you come from? Where your hotel? Where you go? I go with you. All that sort of stuff. And although I love Thailand, first impressions were that I like Thailand. I wanted to come back here. I wanted to try and communicate a little bit more with the locals. So I thought, okay, I'll learn Thai. And I think it's really, really important that you kind of judge and work out, before you do anything, how you learn. I assume, looking at my demographics, that a lot of the people that are watching this are men in their 50s and 60s, and maybe you haven't actually learnt anything new, learnt any new skills for 20 years, 30 years. And so I think it's important that things have changed since you went to school, first of all. Things are a lot different. And how do we adapt to those changes, and what is the method that you are going to use to learn Thai? What suits you best? So, could it be one-on-one lessons with a Thai person, whether that be in person or online? Could it be in a class somewhere? There are classes all over the world to speak Thai. Could it be using a book, using a CD, whatever, flashcards, electronically on a computer? Which way is the best for you to learn the language. And once you've decided, because for me, for example, I'll let you know, I use books and I use CDs and cassette tapes, if you remember what those are. But I also went to school in a class, and I was terrible at it. I couldn't really get into that vibe. I didn't really like it at all. So first things first, learn how to learn. That's really important. I came here the first time and I decided that I was going to learn Thai. So I went to the library, if you remember. I don't know if do they have libraries anymore, I'm not sure. Went to the library and I pulled out a couple of Thai books. I also bought a book from Birmingham City Centre bookstore, and it had a cassette tape with it. And I remember driving around Birmingham on the M6, going to work every day, going, you know, Sawati Krap, Pom Chu Arai Kap. To myself, I'll be happy to say there were no passengers. And then walking around in the park, trying to remember what I'd learned. And that came, you know, off pretty well. I think I've told this story many, many times, so apologies if it's a repeat, but I came back to Thailand a few months after my first trip, and I was able to tell a joke in Thai. And everybody laughed and they thought it was hilarious. And that laughter, that hearing women laughing, not at me, but with me, making them laugh, I knew at that moment that I kind of climbed a mountain, or started to climb a mountain. So it was fantastic. So, first of all, learning like that. That went on for a few years until at the turn of the century, I became quite interested in Buddhism, and I started hanging around a Buddhist monastery quite a lot, and I got very friendly with the monks. I actually helped the monks. I took the monks this is in England, to language classes to learn English, and I helped them learning English at a Thai temple at a place called King's Bromley. I think it's still there. So I went there and they said to me, you know, Kun Phil, your Thai language is pretty rubbish. You get everything wrong, the tones are wrong. You need to learn to read and write. And I remember what the monk said. He says, how would you feel if I could talk a little bit of English to you, but then when I came to read a sign, I couldn't read it? And I thought, yeah, I think the monk's got a point, really. So I set out to learn the Thai alphabet. Bear in mind, I've been learning now for about 4 years or so. So I was kind of getting on okay, but I was getting into a few bad ways. It's a tonal language, I'm sure you know. And it's not just the tones that are difficult, but it's also the vowel sounds. I find the vowel sounds make a bigger difference to people understanding you more than the tones. And by the vowel sounds, I mean the vowel length. So, for example, you have a E in Thai, and you have a E, you have a E, and a air, oo, and a oo, right? And you cannot write those, transliterate those into the English language. So you have to learn Thai. So the monks gave me some A4 paper, and I think it was about 10 pieces all stapled together. And they said, right, it's a bank holiday next week, so we've got 2 weeks to learn the Thai alphabet, right? And when people ask me, how long did it take you to learn Thai? Well, the answer is the Thai alphabet took me 2 weeks to learn. But let me tell you something. It was intense, right? I spent because the monks had told me, and at the time I was kind of into that sort of thing, I didn't want to let the monks down, you know, they were holy people. And so I had to learn the alphabet. And I don't know, I should really know how many letters there are in the Thai alphabet. And not only that, but there's all the different vowel sounds, like I said, and then there's the tone marks, and, you know, it just goes on and on and on and on. every waking moment. I literally used to go to sleep with those A4 bits of paper next to my bed, wake up, first thing I did, let's go through what I learnt last night. Have I remembered it? Has it stuck in the head? And writing, and I used to go to work. At the time, I was a DJ, DJing in strip clubs in the UK, and I used to sit in the DJ booth, introducing the girls on the microphone, and then getting on and going through my Thai language for 2 weeks, 2 really, really intense weeks. And I was so proud of myself. I managed to learn every single letter and every single vowel, tone mark of the Thai language. And not only are there letters, but every letter has a kind of a nickname. So, for example, the first letter we all know probably is Gao Gai, Gai meaning chicken, and Gao Gai, Gai, G, the first letter of chicken is G, so it's like G chicken or C chicken or what, you understand. And it's an official learning system like that. So I had to learn all those words as well, which was kind of good because it meant that my vocabulary increased as well. So there I am. I'm so proud. I go back to the monastery and I go to the monk and he said, "Did you learn Thai language?" I said, "Yes, I've learned the alphabet." And he said, "Oh, well done." He said, "You don't have to worry too much because about 25% of those letters we don't use in anymore, but it's good for you to learn." And I'm going, well, I've just spent the whole, literally every waking breath learning the alphabet. And there are some obsolete characters or characters that you only really see in very, very old words, or and I was devastated. So I learned to read, and I remember one day, quite soon afterwards, I was walking in a field in West Bromwich, right? And I looked down, and I could see a coin, and I picked up the coin, and I don't think it came from me, but it was a 1 baht coin from Thailand in West Bromwich in the West Midlands in the UK, in a field. Wow, I thought, what are the chances of that? I thought it was a sign, actually. And so I looked at the coin, and I wasn't sure what it was. But I looked at it, and I could see the word baht in Thai. I could read it, and it was the first time that I'd been in a situation where I could read a word, where I was under a bit of pressure. I didn't know what it was. And so that was it. I was off. It was a sign. And people say if you can read and write, it's really important, and it really helps your development speaking Thai. And they're absolutely correct. I couldn't give any more better advice to you. But I think when you learn a language, you really want to learn how to communicate pretty quickly. You don't want to just sit there and people say, "Can you speak Thai?" "Yes," and then sort of write your name in Thai or something like that. So what I suggest you do is just learn some easy things first of all. Maybe the days of the week, months of the year, the numbers, and numbers are really important. And then when you come to Thailand, you can barter with the taxi drivers if you want. You can show off your numerical skills to some lady in Soy Bacau, but you will get response. You will get a response, and I think it's a really good one. Learn that first. Learn a few easy things first. Hello, what is your name? My name is, where you come from, how old are you? Those sort of phrases that you can use in everyday Thai. And if you do that, there's a lady taking photos here. If you can do that, I think your journey into speaking the Thai language will be better because you'll get enthusiastic. Oh, all that hard work has been, okay, I've actually made sense to somebody. And then I would say go back and start learning to read and write and learn them. I still have I find the numbers pretty tricky. I'm not very good at reading numbers in Thai. And it's pretty good to learn numbers in Thai because we're all aware of dual pricing over here in Thailand. Sometimes you get the price in Roman numerals for Westerners, and then you'll get the price in Thai in numbers. And if you can read the numbers, if it's just Thai numbers, and if you can read that, it usually goes a long way to being able to, you know, to be understood and to be accepted. I hope you can still hear me. Quiet Thailand. It is a bit rainy at the moment. Rainy season is upon us. Next week. So, just to summarise, shall I? Learning Thai. Learn how you learn, first of all. Secondly, I would say learn to be able to speak a few key phrases that you can use when you're over here. Can you take me to the airport? All those sort of things, right? They're really, really simple things, right? Learn those and then go back and start reading and writing, and then you should really rock it then and go off when your Thai skills are better. Next week, I'm going to be talking about how you use the Thai language. Do you need to speak Thai if you're just coming over for a holiday like 2 or 3 times a year? One of the Thai words I know is phon tok. Phon tok. And guess what? It means it's raining. Phon tok lao. It's raining hard. It's raining now. So I'm going to get out of the rain. I don't want to get my hair wet. And look forward to seeing you next week for some more tips on learning Thai. But for me, Mr. Egg, please come and join me down at Le Pub, my bar on Soy Diamond. I'd love to see you. But until then, take care from me, and I'm going to get dry. Bye!